No. We can talk about other items in the budget and stuff.
You have till 3 o'clock.
Till 3 o'clock.
You have till 3 o'clock.
Jennifer probably knows this as well as anybody. You got some extras? You got a copy? You got a copy? Here, got one?
Yep. I don't know what I got a copy of and what I don't.
It's
Did
revised.
you fix what we talked about this morning?
Yes,
Okay, so what I need to do, this needs to go somewhere,
yes. This is,
shredded somewhere.
Started?
All right, so this is my building and grounds stack.
You guys want copies of these? Chief, you want it? I'll share with them. Are we on?
yeah.
We're on. We're called to order. The floor is yours.
Budget highlights, 15,473,522. $15,473,522 is the budget as presented balance. Why is it so high? It's not really much higher than it was last year, but we have about a $2.5 million sewer project for upgrading the wastewater plant, for which we raised the rates last year, okay? So that's what skews it. We got kind of a, was that the pig going through the anaconda? So that big project is moving its way through. That's why the numbers are higher. Tax rates, which are in the general fund, which supplements police department, fire department, administration, those kinds of things. The tax rates remain the same. We did have a pretty significant increase in the health insurance, about 12.2%, and Jennifer can give you details. I think much of that was done in my absence, and I think the finance committee made some decisions, and they told us it was about a 20% increase coming if we had maintained the same, and that's 20%. Not only for the town, but I think the individual is going to see that sort of thing. So I think there was a move to go to 1,000.
The insurance company recommend,
The insurance advisors had recommended going to 1,000 and the 500. 500 is what we pay for now, with the pay up or buy up for 250. Now they're recommending that the town provide for the 1,000 with the 500 buy up. The downtown Blackstone Incorporated is probably the major cut that we see, and that was cut by a third, and that's being paid out of the general fund revenues. But their revenues would decrease by 1/3. Police department salaries, and Ben had asked us to actually give a total. The chief had made some recommendations for salary increases, and those totaled about $23,000 with benefits. Without benefits,
just
excuse me.
salaries, yeah.
And then we need to add
Wait.
about,
Excuse me. Note that on the, whatever you provide to the council, if we,
Without.
without benefits.
maybe you ought to.
How about change the figure with
change it
benefits?
With benefits. So
Change it with benefits.
typically benefits are a third more, up to as much as
Well,
39%
I
in
don't-
places, so.
I don't present typical,
It's
So-
30,000 including,
okay?
You want an exact figure?
I have it.
That's good enough for me.
What is it?
30,000 on the money?
30,000 on the head?
$30,122.
Give me the exact number.
$30,122.
All right. So that's what we'll present, update this, if we vote to go to council with this, okay? Please carry on, Mr. Manager.
There were some salaries that have been, Jennifer, I believe you've got these set aside, $10,000. We've got to do some moving for the dispatch, and this is something you guys need to hear about. We are anticipating a favorable response from the full-time council after we had spoken with the finance committee and the police and employment committee about what to do about dispatch. The county has, I can't say dramatically, but they've doubled, not quite doubled, it went from $3 to $5 a head, and so it's almost a $20,000 cost for us to have dispatching 50% of the time, or roughly half the time. You guys know the deal probably as well as I do, but Janet Matthews is leaving or retiring, and then she may still work a day or two a week. Expectation is that Barbara would go down there and take that as a full-time job, and that Louise would go here and help out. But they're both making more than what our current employees, they've been here a long time. So we see some need to adjust a few salaries. So a lady that's been collecting utility bills for 5 years, and Louise who's not collected them before, there's not such a disparity in those salaries. So we see some things there in the administration that we probably want to address. Doesn't mean we'll use the full $10,000, but it does mean we have a pool of money in which to adjust some salaries. Okay? Electric rates, expected to remain the same. We do have a thing called a true-up. Dominion Power charges us for power every year, and they make an expectation for the following year, beginning July 1, no later than June 1 of the month previous, okay? They make an expectation, and they give us a rate that they live with for the year, but they are entitled to ask for true-up. If they've undercharged or overcharged, they're allowed to come back the following year and ask for that. And then we have to pay it back within 3 months. We have true-up this year. We came out to the good in years previous. 2012, I think, was the first year. Sam and I remember that one, and we really got slaughtered for $90,000 true-up, which was half true-up, and the other half was because our generators didn't kick on one time when we were penalized. You may or may not remember the dark days of 2011 and 2012. We had about a $90,000 true-up. We have about a $45,000 true-up this year, not because the generators didn't start, but because Dominion undercharged all the communities in VEMA, and they're going back to pick it up. We do have almost $125,000 of depreciation cost in the electric fund. One of the things we're trying to accomplish in water and sewer and electric is funding the depreciation as fully as possible. As our electric lines get older, instead of us going out to borrow money, as water lines get older, instead of going out and constantly borrowing money, we got $12 million of debt now. If we can build up depreciation funds, we can replace wire, we can replace water lines, we can replace vehicles, we can do those kinds of things, and that is the right way to do it. Or you got to go back to folks every time and say, I need 3% more on your electric rate because we got to replace this water, this overhead wire. So we're trying to establish reserve and depreciation accounts. Water and sewer rates would increase by 3%. The reason we need a little bit on that, and we're asking that the folks in town pay it, the council agree to it, is the town council agreed to apply for the East End Housing Improvement Grant. Tavern Street, Broad Street, that general vicinity, the water and sewer lines are in bad shape. They're old and they're not particularly good. We've applied for a grant for $1.4 million from the state. Roughly $1 million of it would go into housing improvements. $400,000, I'm using round numbers, roughly $400,000 from the state would go to replacing the water lines in the neighborhood. And the town, if this grant is successful, is on the hook to replace about $600,000 plus of sewer lines in the neighborhood, okay? Needs to be done, it's just old, and Andre's having a heck of a time with the brick manholes and the terracotta sewer lines. The water lines are cast iron. And if you remember several years ago, we took a picture of a water pipe that had a lot of carbuncles and like barnacles. Yeah, we had one sitting here in the town office for a long time. We need to get that done, one way or another. All right.
I'll stop you there, Mr. Manager.
Thank you.
Your next page is capital projects, and we've already talked about them. That are included in the budget. We're on tape, on YouTube, or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but a copy of this document, if it's voted on and approved today to go in the council package, will be available down here. And anyone that wants a copy of this, it's a summary. It's a 8-page document. 8-page document is outstanding overview of the budget. So I don't see any need to go any further with it for public knowledge if it's available to the public. Mr. Nash was supposed to join us. I don't know what happened, but anyway, at this time, if you've got any questions or comments about this presentation, Mr. Moncur?
No.
I'm in total agreement of this, and I move that we present this budget highlight package to council for their amusement or information, as it were. Mr. Moncur, will you second that?
Yes?
So we will give this to council.
Do you want to hear the?
We will. If there is any other business before the finance committee, besides our wonderful police department.
I think this is.
That's it? All right, so Chief, we'll hear from you now, sir.
Mr. Green, I'd like to just thank you for the opportunity.
Well, never mind what they were getting.
I figured you couldn't hear me from back there.
Well, that could be good or it could be bad. I'm not real sure.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity, the Finance Committee. I'd like to defer my time to Officer Shea Farley, who just would like to address the committee.
You ain't got that dog in here, do you?
Just on standby outside.
Come on. Officer Farley, I don't know, as a public official, if I've had the opportunity to welcome you back. I'm glad you're here. I hope
Yes,
this
sir.
is home.
Yes,
I
sir.
hope you
Thank
find everything here to your liking. I hope you retire here. I'm a big fan.
Thank you for that, Mr. Green, Mr. Moncure, Mr. Van Norbeek, Mr. Nash, who's not here, Ms. Hardy, and Ms. Procyse. I appreciate the opportunity today to come and speak to you about some things that have come up about our hazardous duty supplement, also known as LEOS. I prepared a letter here that I'd like to read from. Feel free to stop me at any time to ask questions.
I'm good at that.
Okay. I was fortunate enough to start my law enforcement career with the town of Blackstone Police Department in 2008. I had no idea what being in law enforcement was about when I first started. I had the pleasure to have Larry Chumney as a field training officer. Larry taught me how the day-to-day operations went in the town. I learned valuable lessons from Tony Mayton, Sam Murphy, Chris Mathias, and Chief Kuzmiak. I owe my law enforcement career to these officers. I look to them to this day for guidance and support. I left the Blackstone Police Department in 2012, as many of you know. I was put in a position where I could not financially afford to stay with the town at that time. I was going through a divorce, had other obligations I had to meet, and was unable to meet them in 2012 while working for the town. I had no problems with the police department. Frankly, I just couldn't pay my obligations on the salary. I changed agencies to the Farmville Police Department. When I arrived in Farmville, it was like a homecoming. I was raised in Farmville and knew everyone in the town. I excelled in Farmville. I was voted as Officer of the Year by my peers. I led the department in all statistical categories and DUIs. I received several commendations for work performance. I thank the town of Blackstone Police Department for teaching me the right way to do things as a police officer, because the lessons I learned here, I took with me to Farmville. I never forgot where I came from. In May of 2016, I received a phone call from Sergeant Mayton, Tony. Tony explained to me that they were interested in me coming back to work for the town in Blackstone. First, I thought, no way, it's not possible. But then, after several conversations, it was worked out that I would be able to return. Blackstone has given me an opportunity to come back and to achieve my goal of becoming a canine handler. I've wanted nothing more in my law enforcement career. I feel like Blackstone is my home. I feel that here, with the rest of the department, we can make a difference in protecting and serving the citizens of Blackstone. I see it on a daily basis. I never got that feeling working in Farmville. Strange. I lived there. I grew up there. I came back due to my loyalty to the officers that spent countless hours training me and teaching me to be a police officer. I look at this as a career, not just another job, but a career. I have taken an oath to protect and serve the citizens of Blackstone. I really don't plan on giving up this line of work anytime soon. The department has bent over backwards in recent months to accommodate me with my wife's recent diagnosis with breast cancer. The department has done everything it can to let me attend doctor's visits, surgeries, and other medical absences when they didn't have to. I didn't have the time, but they worked it out, all while being severely understaffed. I owe a lot to the police department. And looking forward to the future of this agency, I see great potential here. The Blackstone Police Department is the premier law enforcement agency, thank you, in Nottoway County. No offense to our sheriff's department, as they do a great job, but as a whole, Blackstone is a place to be. I would like to have the recruitment and retention tools available to hire and keep the best officers around to pass that torch on to someday. I love nothing more than to get those lessons and give them to another officer so he can take them going forward, or she. I'm 40 years old. I do not plan on patrolling these streets well into my 60s. My mind would let me, but the physical demands of police work would take a toll on my body. Just working a 12-hour shift with 25 extra pounds of a duty belt and a bulletproof vest will wear a body out. Foot chases, vehicle chases, arresting a non-compliant offender that doesn't want to go to jail will also put strain on an officer. The fast food, investigating crimes, lack of sleep, locating runaways and missing persons is just a hint of our, quote, job description. We never know when our next call may be our last. We kiss our families goodbye before we leave, not knowing if we will return home safely. The mental strain takes a toll. No 60-plus-year-old person should have to deal with that.
Let me know when you're at a good stopping point.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This is my prayer list. While we're on YouTube here, I told someone I'd pray for them, and they said I was condescending. But what is your wife's name?
Christy.
Christy. I lost my mother to breast cancer a couple months ago. Christy will be in my prayers.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Green.
Can you spell it I-E or Y?
With a Y. She's doing great, by the way. She's gotten all through her chemo. She's cancer-free as of this moment. She has final surgery coming up in a couple weeks here with mastectomy, double mastectomy, and reconstruction. For those of you on YouTube watching, it's probably a little more information than you needed, but she's been a warrior, and she supports me and me working here in the town of Blackstone.
Just so you know, Chief, you're second Saturday. So you got me a little choked up, but go ahead.
Yes, sir.
I think you're singing to the choir.
Yes,
if
sir.
It makes you feel better to finish your presentation. You can.
Yes, sir. I've got 2 more paragraphs here, and I'll be passing it on to Sergeant Major Sam. I take this career very seriously. Every day provides its own challenges. We are police officers 24 hours a day. Even when we're at home taking care of our families, we are all subject to call-outs for emergencies. We hold ourselves to higher standards. We are not perfect, but I believe we do a good job of keeping ourselves in line. It's our duty. I close in asking the Finance Committee today to reconsider our future. I request that they recommend to approve LEOs for our department. This benefit will save the town money in the long run. It will enhance morale. It will give us the tools necessary in a very competitive market to recruit and retain valuable assets to the town of Blackstone. Several agencies statewide, I think at last count was 81 agencies statewide, have adopted LEOs or some sort of hazardous duty supplement and continue to benefit those jurisdictions in doing so. The turnover rate in law enforcement nationwide is high, and Blackstone has had the reputation as a stepping stone for other jobs in law enforcement. People are here, they go to other places, like I did. It has that stepping stone mentality for other jobs in law enforcement. If the department has the tools it needs to recruit and retain those assets, the stepping stone mentality will decrease. We would have applicants that would be fighting over the opportunity to come to town to work here. The town of Blackstone can only reap the benefits. That concludes my statements.
Well, it was greatly appreciated.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Anytime.
Yes, sir.
Anytime. Before we hear from anyone else, I'd like to have a little conversation with town manager and Mr. Moncur. You excuse me a moment. Yeah, I don't want to hear any more from that man. He's about to get on my nerves.
Good. If you give me a title, we'll be friends. I gotta go in the meeting right here, folks.
You tell that man he don't want me on the phone.
He won't get on the phone. I hate to hang up on him.
Well, he didn't want me on the phone.
What y'all doing?
Come on, have a seat, have a seat.
We have a garbage truck, but no title to the garbage truck. We're at $128,000, and man, telling us he's working. He don't wanna work on it.
Want to have a seat right here. Want to have a conversation with you. I don't need to be. I don't need to hear any more. I'm for Leo's, and I know you are. Where are you in support of providing this benefit to our men in blue?
Right now, I'm listening.
Okay, all right,
We think it's gonna be about $45,000.
all right. Here's where we are, guys.
What was that figure?
I think it's 45 last year, it was 42 last. 42, so we're gonna be in that ballpark. I suspect it may be a little less, because some of our older guys have
Retired.
retired.
Right, I understand. I understand. What, before we get started, this is an expense that's in perpetuity. So, sir,
It's a recurring expense.
I think that's the word. I used the word properly, didn't I?
Perpetuity
Yeah,
is,
all right.
Yeah, that's 57, I can't handle it.
It's a recurring item, line item. It would be a line item, okay? Let me just tell you, and I want you to jump in, and you want you to jump in too. Let me tell you guys where we are with this budget, okay? We had a lot of hurdles to overcome. Amazingly, we're not raising anything except for water and sewer rates in anticipation and trying to get out ahead of a potential of $1 million cost if we don't get this grant. If we get the grant, $600,000-$700,000. At any rate, it's a huge sum. We're trying to get out in front of it. I know I won't hear any arguments from Sam that we believe that we should buy you police cars with cash money. We should buy bucket trucks with cash money. We should, and when we need to replace electric lines, there should be money in the electric account to pay for those lines. Well, I don't know how we've done it. We've got good employees, associates here that have we saved a little money. We've overextended ourselves with DBI. I'm one of the forefathers of DBI. I was one of the ones that came up with the concept, but we've overstepped the agreement we made with the state, and it's time we cut back. That's going to kind of offset the insurance that we're having to deal with, and so on and so on. My point is, in a nutshell, is we've stretched this budget as far as we can stretch it. There's no rabbit to pull out the hat. If we provide this benefit, we're going to raise some taxes. It's that simple. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with us taking a vote to taking it to council, and I don't have a problem with these two able-bodied people to give us an idea of how we could do it. But it's not my decision. My job is to present a balanced budget to the council, and that's what we've done. Now, we've been asked for some increases in salary, and I don't know how we did it, but they did it. You got some magicians up here. But they don't have any more magic wand. So, I mean, do you have any idea how, if I told you right now, raise the money, how would you go about it?
two things that I would do. One,
Right.
you talking to me or?
Yes, I'm talking to you.
First thing I would do is ask the chief. I've spoken with, if not all, then the majority of the police officers with chief, and the priority for the employees or the police department was Leo. That was priority.
Yes, sir.
I would continue to focus on that using a figure of $45,000 in the worst case, I believe, scenario. You've got what we just discussed, about $30,000 in raises. Now, one of those raises where we started, and that was to adjust somebody, Robertson, I believe, who was going to be here, kind of a middle of the ground and kind of new folks, and he got 7 years experience, and he was kind of the odd
That's
man.
Brown.
Maybe go back and look at that one position. Make Leo's the priority, and I think you're going to be pushing pretty close to $30,000 of savings. He also had, where Clyde left, there were savings from Clyde. We absorbed that already, okay? But I think you've got $30,000 of
That's
it
no problem.
right there. But I also believe we've got a little bit of savings from where we're only being charged $5 instead of $6 for the dispatching services, and I think there's some ways to pull it out. I think just sitting here, I can see about $35,000 of true cash. We've absorbed in the budget Clyde's savings and Lindsay.
All right,
It just was absorbed because we just had lower expenditures and then we applied fewer revenues to it.
I missed the key part when you started talking about this raise.
The priority for the chief and the employees that I've met would be Leo's. So
Okay,
instead of raises, which we've got approximately $30,100, other than Robertson, I think was the one position that we started talking about. I think that would be the one place that you could find about $30,000. I think you can find a little bit of savings in that we expected a $6 increase instead of a $5 increase on dispatch, plus Clyde's savings, which we have absorbed, but we'd have to make some cuts, not just in your department with the raises, but we really haven't made a huge number of cuts. Do I think we can do it? I think we can get close. I think we can get close. Clyde left and we're replacing him with a $36,000 a year man, and he was a $55,000 a year guy. So, and then Lindsay, one position's not gonna be there. Now, what I do think is you can have what I would consider an IOU with an understanding that when Louise leaves, that's a $15 an hour position, or $14.77, I think is her salary. She'll be replaced with a $10 an hour person. That's a $10 an hour position. That's what we paid Brittany when she started. I think we hit Tracy somewhere close to that when they get started. So you're gonna see, and I think she's leaving in a year, you're gonna see almost $10,000 in savings just in salary when Louise leaves, because we'll go from almost $15 to $10.
so you guys sit here, you flip the coin, you want the raises or you want Leo's? Leo's, okay.
Can we do it? With some
Well,
adjustments.
let me stick my head in. I'm really proud to hear that. That makes me feel good. Because you've heard me, Ben, on several occasions, and so have you, fellows. I never could get excited over Leo's for the fact that when you would ask officers, the young officers said, we want money now, we don't want it later. And there was an attitude that, well, you let us get a little more committed toward needing it, and then all of a sudden we're gonna be for Leo's. And being a bit older, I understand how retirements are built and where money comes from, and the inability to do it in a fortnight or 1 or 2 year basis. It has to be done on a long-term commitment. I'm proud to hear this. It makes me feel good. And for that reason, I'm totally for it.
Okay, when we finish with this, we're gonna have a closed session.
Okay.
Personnel, okay? But the floor is open for a motion to,
So made.
I'll second. So your motion will be to take out the
The raises and put in the
raises and put in
Except
the
for Robertson.
Leos.
That one position, I think you need to leave it in because he is really in an awkward between steps. And that's where the raises started, with the one position. And then I think what was presented was more than that. Nothing wrong to ask, but I think Robertson, there is a legitimate.
Well, how much money are we talking about?
$4,000?
Right.
That takes a chunk out of it, but we can find the 45.
All right, that's fine, that's fine. I don't even know, I don't, let's, withdraw your motion, please. I don't think we need to do that.
Okay.
Well, go ahead then, I second it, and so the motion carries 2-0 to flip-flop in this presentation, that's fine. All right. Anything else from our dedicated boys in blue, black, or whatever color it is you got on?
I don't think I can do what he said.
That's pretty
I don't think you need to say it to start with, it's just a matter of paying for it, okay? I think it's a travesty that nationwide, that your career, that your profession is paid what it is, in my opinion. I think it's a travesty. But there's only so much that I can do. Now, I do like what Shay said. I'll just give you an example of how bad it is my brother's a career law enforcement officer. He has PhD in criminal justice. He's the director of training at FBI Academy at Quantico, getting ready to retire. Started out dispatching in crew when he's 14 years old. So you know it's in my family. But he had 2 stints with Chesterfield County, and they wouldn't even look at you without a bachelor's degree in criminal justice or criminal science. And now I was riding down the road the other day, they're advertising on a board, you know what I'm saying? They went from 2,500 applicants for 12 positions to their advertising. So, you know, what you're saying about having people run to us is what I want. And I think it's an investment that we need to make as a town. So, you know, that's when I said you're singing to the choir. It was a great presentation, heartfelt, it meant a lot to me. But I'm all for it, and I'm willing to use my big mouth and ask my buddy over here to use his to get it done. And maybe we can figure out a way to take on these raises at another time. Okay. I'd like to present that to council. Maybe you find a way that maybe it's a penny on the real estate tax, something that really wouldn't. That's my proposal. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to have this in the council package today. We vote on that.
Yeah, we're not that much short,
Right.
but
But I would like to offer council an option to do both. That you raise, you put a penny or a half a penny on the real estate tax, that each household it wouldn't be.
So how much money are we looking for total?
I think about $45,000,
Yeah.
maybe a little less.
And you've got how much of it figured
I
already?
think with the raises.
No, we can do, I think we can do it, because I got something else in mind.
Shortfall is what I'm talking about.
About 15,000,
All right.
about 15, sure.
I'm not so sure that we can't fine tune this budget a little more, and
I think
especially on the
15,000 cut
expense side,
somewhere there.
where people, and I'm gonna, you don't wanna say too much, because you're talking to the world, but, and it's misconstrued, but we do a lot of things, magazine subscriptions, memberships to this, and that type of thing, that are nice, but are not as nice as creating an atmosphere that's gonna keep people loyal to what we're doing. Now, if you got to give up the white walls on your car to get something, you still got the car, but you haven't given up that much. And I'm just not talking about you, I'm talking about whether it be the garbage truck giving up this or something. There's that much money somewhere that we can dig out and put in. Sounds like a lot of chatter, but I believe.
Well, that's what we're here for, and I'm glad you got it off your chest, and they need to know how we feel. So, is there any other adjustment to this package that we need to make? You'll flip, so let's go over it briefly, so we understand each other. The only thing is the police department milestone salary increases totaling $30,122 will be stricken. The police department Leo program of $40,000 will be funded.
And I think we need to keep in mind one thing on the LEOs. If we got started today with the actuarial study, I don't know if we'd be in place by 1st of July. So it may not be a full year anyhow.
Right.
And I don't know if you can get into it in a half a year, but otherwise you may not have a full year of cost.
Well, that's something we'll talk about later. But anyway, we'll do that. The administration department merit salary increasing totaling $10,000. We're gonna have a closed session here in a minute, and we may adjust that, okay? And everything, and other than that, we don't need to mess with it, okay? So what we'll do is, what I'd like to do, if this is kosher, let you boys go on back to what you're gonna do. We're gonna present to council a budget package, a summary that includes Leo's. And then what we're going to ask them to do is to come up with a way to offer council the option of raising real estate tax or personal property tax or a combination of both to accommodate the raises too. That's what I want. Okay? So, everybody straight? All right, so now I'm gonna have to ask y'all to leave. We're gonna go to closed session. And then we're gonna come back and vote on this. And so we'll alert y'all to how we vote on this summary. Okay?
I just want to say thank you, because this matter was really important to me,
Okay?
and I certainly appreciate you
Well-
taking the time to.
Well, you know how I feel about all you boys.
Yes, sir.
So, you're welcome.
Guess you gotta make a
You know,
motion to
they
go
look
to closed
treated
session.
like, a lot like men rather than boys, don't they?
Yeah, I move that the Account and Finance Committee go to an executive session for personnel.
So move.
All right, so we're now in closed session.